So we're going to have one last question to leave enough time for audience Q&A. It's about the emergence in the last couple, 3 years of systems on a chip. Everyone wants to say, semiconductor companies say they have a system on a chip for this and a system on a chip for that. Jeff, help me here. I'm having a heart attack because I think a lot of it is just smoke. So what I'd like to hear is what the 3 panelists think about the evolution of system on a chip and where it is today, and what role EDA tools play in creating and making possible even more advanced systems on a chip. Whoever wants to comment first, but I'd like all 3 of the panelists to provide their opinion, perspective.
This would have been a provocative question in 1999. We're so there. You know, the largest chips, the most complex chips are unbelievably capable, and we're talking multi-billion transistor configurations. But to me, what characterizes system on a chip, for starters, is that invariably there are many processor cores on it. They can be specialized, they can be general. There's a large set of complex blocks that are working together, and most importantly, there's oodles of software in it. And we should not forget that today, if you look at the average semiconductor company, there are more software engineers in that company than there are hardware engineers.
By far.
And you could say, well, that is because the EDA tools have optimized and automated this so well. Or you can say, no, it is that the compute power inherent in a chip is so great that the amount of software that can leverage this is all virtually unlimited. And I'm certainly a believer, a little bit of both, that we'll see continuation of silicon technology providing yet another 10x in computation, and that will open up the era of smart everything in a fashion that is hard to imagine for many people, but that will be fabulous.
Thank you. Doug, comment on SOC's evolution and current status?
Yeah, I mean, you know, systems is an extremely broad term, and you know, you can start with something as low as a, you know, speak and spell toy from the 1970s, and you know, putting the logic of that system on a chip is trivial and could have, would have, whatever been done a long time ago. You know, so the answer is there are thousands, millions of systems on chips out there buried in products that we don't even know about, right? And it's, you know, it isn't a technical, if they aren't on a single chip, it's an economic reason as opposed to a technical reason. That is, it's cheaper to have 2 separate chips than 1 chip. So, you know, you can certainly today still describe extremely complex systems that fit on more than 1 chip. But since, as Art says, you know, we're already at the multi-billion transistor level. In fact, there are not very many systems that complex. And you know, systems on a chip conceptually or in reality are a widespread reality and have been for quite a number of years as far as I'm concerned. And it all comes down to what scale of system are you talking about and so forth. So you can always describe something that will fit. You can always describe something that won't fit. But you know, I think it's a, you know, it's a detailed implementation. It's not a technological barrier.
The reason for my skepticism is that in the last year or so, I've heard numerous presentations at conferences on systems on a chip for Internet of Things, and for software-defined network, and for software-defined storage, and for network function virtualization. It's going to have everything you ever need and solve all of your problems. Is that going to happen, Suhas?
Yeah, so, you know, I already, you know, did a system on a chip, and honestly, because there was a system.
That was a cable set-top box, right?
Yeah, and it absorbed everything.
Was it mixed signal that have RF on it also?
No, see, no, RF those days were in a can, you know. So this thing.
Today, system on a chip implies mixed signal, RF, analog, and digital, not just baseband.
Right. So the definition, there was system on a chip for the digital system. Okay. Now the interesting thing is the role, as Art said, the role of software. Okay. Because in the earlier things, much of the system was frozen. It was in hardware. Today's systems are all, you know, the result of programming. So you build up this platform in which you're capable of doing lots, and so your flexibility is enormous. Okay, so the word system on a chip, if you define it as, we have a consumer product such as Internet of Things, then what happens is you can't have too many chips, even just from the point of view of power consumption. So you want to bring everything inside, okay? And you still need all the magic which then comes out of software, okay? So it is number of chip counts, and sometimes it is really, you might have a big chip, but you need smaller chip because the voltage differences are, drives are different, all kinds of those things. But essentially today, all big chips that are being designed really are system on a chip.
But is one system on a chip, one size fits all?
Well, one size fits a lot.
Okay, well, let's give the panelists a big hand.